his status has changed. Why is he being held to the standards of someone who's an international student? He is a permanent resident. Do permanent residents in this country enjoy the First Amendment protection that is available to all citizens? That is the serious question. So if any other person who came here through different, like bought the $5 million green card that Donald Trump is sending, and if that person were then to protest in his company or outside and advocate for Palestinian rights, which will then be interpreted as anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, will that person be deported, and will we then reimburse them the $5 million, or will keep the $5 million and deport him or her anyway? Welcome to Khanversations. I'm Muqtedar Khan, your host, and in this very short commentary, I want to talk about a fundamental flaw in the logic of Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, whenever he's answering the question to explain why Mahmoud Khalil, the Palestinian who was the leader of the Columbia University students movement, which is accused of basically supporting Hamas and terrorism, etc. So if you look at all the interviews that he's conducting on this particular issue, there's a fundamental flaw in his logic, and that's what I want to point out. And I'm quite disappointed that many of the reporters in their follow-up questions, even though some of them are quite brave in the way they are confronting him and are asking follow-up questions, they're not questioning the logic of his answer. So please, before I get into it, subscribe to Khanversations, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share this video with your socio-political network. So if you watch the video, when he's asked the question, like, why is Mahmoud Khalil, who is a permanent resident of the United States, he has a green card, why are they saying that they have revoked his visa and therefore they are? Because can you take away his green card for speech? Basically, yes, you may disagree fundamentally, you may even abhor what he's saying. We do not have to justify what he's saying. He has the right. He's protected by the First Amendment. So why is he being deported? And those allegations that he's supporting terrorists, none of these have been actually proven in court. So we don't even know whether these allegations are true. There is no evidence provided. So the first time when this question is posed, the standard answer is that the reason why we are deporting him is because he is indulging in anti-Semitic rhetoric, he is against America, he's supporting a terrorist organization, he is a Hamas supporter, he's promoting a terrorist agenda. Accusations of this kind are made. But when a specific question is asked, like when did he support Hamas, like when did he do this, show us the proof. And then this is what Marco Rubio says, is that, look, he came here on a visa, and visa is not your right. It's a privilege that the United States grants you. He was given a student visa. He should have been grateful. He should have come here. He should have studied, and that should have been the end of it.
With Envoy Witkoff, I want to ask you about a decision you made to revoke a student visa for someone at Columbia University this past week. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, the administration needs to be careful. It's targeting real promoters of terrorism, not breaking the great promise of a green card by deporting anyone with controversial political views. Can you substantiate any form of material support for terrorism, specifically to Hamas, from this Columbia student? Or was it simply that he was espousing a controversial political point of view?
Well, not just the student. We're going to do more. In fact, every day now we're approving visa revocations, and if that visa led to a green card, the green card process as well. And here's why. It's very simple. When you apply to enter the United States and you get a visa, you are a guest. And you're coming as a student, you're coming as a tourist, or what have you. And in it, you have to make certain assertions. And if you tell us when you apply for a visa, I'm coming to the U.S. to participate in pro-Hamas events, that runs counter to the foreign policy interest of the United States of America. It's that simple. So you lied. You came. If you had told us that you were going to do that, we never would have given you the visa. Now you're here. Now you do it. So you lied to us. You're out. It's that simple.
But
it's that straightforward.
Is there any evidence of a link to terrorism, or is it just his point of view?
Yeah, they take over I mean, do you not? I mean, you should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings.
We
they
covered
vandalize
it
colleges.
intensely.
They shut down
I'm
colleges.
asking about the specific justification for the revocation of his visa. Was there any evidence of material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator negotiating on behalf of people that took over a campus, that vandalized buildings? Negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself, that they're involved in being the negotiator, the spokesperson, this, that, the other. We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed them in the first place. If he had told us, I'm going over there and I'm going over there to become the spokesperson and one of the leaders of a movement that's going to turn one of your allegedly elite colleges upside down, people can't even go to school, library buildings being vandalized, we never would have let him in. We never would have let him in to begin with.
But and he goes on to add that if Mahmoud Khalil had said in his interview application or visa application that the purpose of his coming here was to advocate for Palestinian rights, which are increasingly, I mean, any advocation of Palestinian rights is now being interpreted as support for Hamas. Come on, you don't have to be stuck in the binary stuff. It's like liberals and Democrats that if you're critical of Joe Biden, Genocide Joe, for committing a genocide in Gaza, then you're necessarily a Trump supporter. No, you can be critical of Trump's policies as well as critical of Biden's policies. It's only the mentally narrow-minded idiots who can't see that there can be more nuance to positions. But anyway, so the point that he's failing to say is this, that since he cannot find assumptions, he is saying that if this particular student had said that I'm coming to America to essentially promote Palestinian rights, which here is interpreted as support for Hamas, then he would not have got this visa, and therefore, quote unquote, he misrepresented him, and therefore his visa will be revoked, and so he's being deported. But the point is that his status has changed. His status has changed. Why is he being held to the standards of someone who's an international student? He is a permanent resident. Do permanent residents in this country enjoy the First Amendment protection that is available to all citizens? That is the serious question. So if any other person who came here through different, like bought the $5 million green card that Donald Trump is sending, and if that person were then to protest in his company or outside and advocate for Palestinian rights, which will then be interpreted as anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, will that person be deported, and will we then reimburse them the $5 million, or will keep the $5 million and deport him or her anyway? That is the kind of, there's a flaw in the logic, because you enjoy certain rights by virtue of your status. If you are an international student, you can work 20 hours on the campus. You can't work off campus without further OPT, etc. stuff. If you are a green card holder, you can work anytime, anywhere in the country. You can't vote in elections. If you are a citizen, you can vote in elections, you can run for office. So imagine if this person, Mahmoud Khalil, had become a US citizen and was running for Congress on promoting the two-state solution or promoting Palestinians' rights. So then would he be accused of being anti-Semitic and supporting Hamas? And when evidence was asked, they would say, no, we don't have to provide any evidence of what he's doing right now. We will just tell you that when he applied for visa, he was a student and he did not tell us that he was coming here to get a green card and then get a citizenship and then run for Congress and advocate for Palestinian rights. And since he did all of that, his visa is revoked, and therefore his green card is revoked, and therefore his citizenship is revoked. Is that a constitutionally valid argument that Marco Rubio is making? I think it is not. So this is the key question. I think the fundamental flaw in the logic is that one, they have absolutely no evidence that he's committed any act that could be interpreted as terroristic. And so otherwise they would present it right away. They would forward the video or whatever it is. They would show it to us right away. I'm not sure that winning a logical argument with Marco Rubio is going to change the policies. I'm sure he also knows that the policy that he's so vociferously advocating is wrong, unconstitutional, and un-American. But he's still continuing to do that. But it's amazing the enthusiasm that Marco Rubio now suddenly has for Donald Trump's policies is quite remarkable. And we will see where all of this goes. Mahmoud Khalil's case has now become as a critical for testing many aspects and robustness of especially the First Amendment in this country. And so that's all I wanted to share about this. There is a fundamental flaw in the way the Trump administration is trying to justify without any legal evidence or anything the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil. So anyway, so I hope you found this interesting and provocative. So please subscribe to Khanversations, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share it with your socio-political network. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtedar Khan. Take care.